Top of the morning to ya. That's right, it's that time of the year when we're all Irish. But it's not just about drinking Guinness or singing Irish tunes at the pub. It's about delicious Irish foods. And I have one traditional Irish bake in mind that is vegan and gluten-free. Let's get baking. Today I want to share with you my recipe for a delicious yet simple vegan and gluten-free Irish soda bread. Believe it or not, I'm 1/8 Irish, and I grew up enjoying my mom's corned beef and cabbage to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, when I used to eat that sort of thing. But it was her Irish soda bread that I enjoyed the most. All my ingredients are laid out here, and as you can see, it's really not that many. It's going to be very simple. Of course, my mom's recipe that she shared with me so long ago is actually not vegan or gluten-free, so a lot of these ingredients are gonna help us turn it into that kind of a bake that I can eat and anyone can enjoy. What we need to start with is the flax egg, because the original recipe has regular eggs. So I've got 2 tablespoons of flax, and we're gonna mix that with water to make our 2 flax eggs. So 2 tablespoons of ground flax, and then 6 tablespoons of water. Let's just get that all blended. We're doing this first because we want this to set up for a little bit. Just a little whisk, nothing crazy. You could use a spoon too, just make sure it's all blended. So I'm just gonna put that aside. And next we'll prepare our milk. So I have 1/2 cup of plant milk. I'm using almond milk, but I think oat milk, soy milk, any kind of plant milk that you prefer should work. And all we need is 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. So what that does is kind of makes like your buttermilk. And then once this combines with the baking soda, it's gonna help give it a little rise, a little spread. So again, we're just gonna let that sit as well. So I'm gonna put that aside. Now let's get ready to blend our flours. Got 3 cups of all-purpose gluten-free flour. This is Bob's. I always use Bob's for the most part. So I'm just gonna put that in my mixer. And then we're gonna add sugar, this organic granulated white sugar. And this is 3/4 of a cup. So let's get that right in there as well. Then we're gonna add some tapioca flour to help with the binding process and give it a little bit of a texture. This is 3 tablespoons of tapioca flour. Put that right in. Oh, it's so easy so far, right? And then last but not least, it's called Irish soda bread, so we want that soda. So this is 3½ teaspoons of baking soda. There's a little bit stuck here. I'm gonna get that out. Shake that. Okay. All right, so that's all for our dry ingredients right now. Give that a little blend. And if you haven't had Irish soda bread before, it's kind of like scone texture. So you'll see as we are moving forward with this process, it's going to look dry until we add more moisture in, but don't worry, it's not like a cake batter. All right, that's blended enough. I'm gonna keep my whisk feature on because we're going to add some butter now, but the butter's going to be melted, and I already have some melted. I'm just gonna grab that. And of course, it's vegan butter, and I like Earth Balance. I get the sticks, not the stuff in the tubs. This is better. And what we have here is 1/2 cup and then an extra tablespoon. And just go ahead and put that right in. I'm gonna make sure, of course, that I get it all. Okay. Put that back. So easy so far, right? Let's start this on slow. And the texture we're looking for here is going to be crumbly, a little sandy. We don't wanna whip this. I'm starting off slow because I really don't wanna like whip this into a really soft, creamy texture. I want it to be crumbly, a little bit dry. We just want the butter to start combining with all the little pieces of the flour. Turn up a little bit. We're getting like these little pebbles of like butter and flour. It's perfect. And what I might do is just stop it a second and make sure nothing's stuck to the bottom. Yeah, we're there pretty much. Just want to make sure the butter gets to touch all little parts of the flour. So let's just give it maybe a few more turns on the whisk. Okay. Already smells good. Flour and butter. So I'm gonna remove this because for the rest of the mixing process, we're just gonna use a spoon. All right, so let's get that milk mixture that we made, our apple cider vinegar, starting to mix in there well, but we need to add one more ingredient, which is 3 tablespoons of our applesauce. Again, that's gonna help bring some moisture and some binding to this bread. And I'm just gonna scoop that right in here with the milk because I wanna combine these first. Move this aside. Let me get my little whisk again. Just get that nice and combined. All right. Okay, and then let's just pour that right in. Give this a few turns. All right, starting to blend and look really good. Let's get our flax egg in now. Bring that back. You can see now that it's gotten a little jellified. Let's dump that right in. Okay. So when I was a kid, we had a cultural day at school. I think I was like in 5th grade. And we had to bring a food item in from our heritage or background, and my mom showed me how to make Irish soda bread. You can imagine the kids were a little shocked. That's why you should never judge a book by its cover. But yeah, I remember bringing that in. And I guess that's when I started really enjoying it, like because I got to make it, I got to share it with my friends. So it's always kind of been like a little happy memory for me. And now that I'm able to make it vegan and gluten-free, it's even better. So you see, we almost have like a batter texture, but it's very lumpy, which is fine. We don't need to blend this anymore. And our final ingredient, raisins. You can use currants if you'd like. You could probably even use cranberries, though I would maybe soak the cranberries first, just to make sure they're not too hard. But raisins are the more traditional way that I know, at least. So let's just dump that right in. And I just have some organic raisins here from Whole Foods. And let's just give that a few more turns. We're pretty much already there, guys. I told you it was gonna be simple, and I did not lie. This is the perfect texture. So it's not like dough. It's more of a batter, but not quite like a batter. So it's a little in between. And I think that's it. So let's get our pan prepared, and then we'll get this in there and into the oven. Before we get this in the oven, we obviously have to put it in a pan. You could use a round pan, but I prefer a loaf pan. What you can do is grease it directly. So I'm gonna use some olive oil. But before I do that, I like to add a little extra support. So I've got this long piece of parchment paper that I highly recommend. You don't need to line the whole tray. I just have it like this, so that when the bread's done, I can just pick it up and not worry about if it's stuck to the bottom. So again, you could just use the pan as it is and make sure you're oiling it up itself, but I recommend the extra insurance you get from a little strip of parchment. So you're just going to oil that up. Hey guys, I just want to take a moment real quick to ask for your support. If you like my recipes, please subscribe to my channel. And when you do, make sure to select that bell that's marked all. That will ensure that you get notified every time I post a new video. Thanks. Now let's get back to baking. I don't think it's gonna rise too much. Again, this is supposed to be like more of a dense bread. I think our rise will be probably just a little over the rim, but not like a loaf of bread. But I'm just gonna get some oil there just in case. All right, now we're going to add our delicious batter. You can see how it's not runny, but it is soft. So I'll just start kind of just dumping it in. And since it's not a dough, you're not gonna have to worry about forming it or anything. Just get it as evenly distributed as possible. That looks good. And I wonder how this would be with like dried blueberries or something too. I don't know. We'll see how this comes out, and then maybe we'll play around with other fruits. Because I feel like a lot of people don't think they like raisins, but in this it's really good. Okay, let's try to get all of that. I'm gonna get a little spoon to help me with the excess. All right. So, all right, let's clean this up a little bit. I got a little bit on the sides. I don't want that to burn while it's in the oven. Maybe this guy too. Okay. All right, so that is it. Very easy and simple, just like I promised. All that's left to do is to put this in the oven at 350, and it's gonna take about 45 to 55 minutes. Just make sure at like 45 minutes that you check it with a knife or a toothpick and make sure it comes out completely clean. Okay, this is ready. We checked it to make sure it was done inside, but we want to leave this in here and let it cool for at least 10 minutes before we take it out and cut it. All right, it's still a little warm, but I believe it's cool enough for us to cut into it and give it a taste. So let's first remove it. We luckily have this handy dandy little contraption with our parchment paper. So that made that very easy. That on the side, so it's looking really good. Let's move it off here. Look at that. It smells really yummy. So I'm gonna use this kind of a knife, serrated knife you can use, but I feel like it'll make it crumble a little more as you're cutting into it. Especially since mine is a little warm still. I wanna be real gentle. Oh yeah, look at that. It's nice and brown. Let's cut a nice big piece here. So it's looking like an Irish soda bread should look. It's like brown, toasty, smells really good. I'm gonna get this on a plate and then have a little taste. All right, I'm excited to try this. Got the end piece here. Let's give it a whirl. It's pretty good. Still warm. So if you have this in the morning with coffee or tea, it's probably gonna be even more amazing. It has that dry, like scone-like texture, but it's also really sweet and very soft. The raisins are plump. It's really, really tasty. I think this is really good Irish soda bread. Perfect for your St. Patrick's Day morning or the next day after your hangover. This couldn't be any easier. A traditional Irish soda bread that anyone can enjoy. And if you're like me, you'll do so with a cup of coffee. That may or may not be Irish coffee. Thanks for joining me, and if you're enjoying these videos, don't forget to subscribe. See ya.